Two zeros.
2 minutes ago, this video comes up. These fucking airplane dogfight battles are the stuff of legend. They're amazing. But if the way a plane dances the dance of death in the sky isn't some form of fucking dance you have to do in your life, these things wouldn't be algorithmed to show up like this. This is more than meets the eye dogfight.
The Japanese unleash hundreds of rounds. Some slice through Venice's fuselage. The top SVD keeps flying. Supreme mastery of his aircraft has kept Swede alive, but in the tight turns, he fights to keep his hands and feet at the controls. At times, his body weighs over 1,000 pounds.
I was jerking that airplane and pushing it hard, diving wide open. And same thing on negative G's, positive G's.
So as Lieutenant Bettis is fending off these attacks from the zeros, he's just aggressively maneuvering his aircraft, which is going to put a lot of forces on the body. A lot of G's, positive and negative, so seat in the pants and then floating in your straps, followed by slips, kicking around the cockpit.
The violent turns stymie the enemy attacks, but in the back seat, the rear gunner cannot fire. Near blacking out in the 9G turns, he can barely keep his head up, much less aim his 30 cal.
The problem being, he's strapped in, and the maneuvers were so violent that he couldn't swing the gun. He couldn't get into position.
So after fending off multiple attacks, basically he's just trying to force those Japanese zeros into making a mistake.
The mistake Swede is looking for is in the zero's turn. After each head-on pass, the enemy pilot must make an extremely tight turn. If it's too loose, Swede's own turn will put him on the zero's tail. The maneuvers continue, and Swede waits for a moment to strike. The fight has gone on for an agonizing 17 minutes. In the high G turns, his heart pounds in his chest, struggling to pump blood to his extremities. His muscles ache against the physical exhaustion of combat. Venison must go on the offensive.
On one particular one, he went out a little bit farther, and I was able to pull up on his tail.
It's a fatal mistake. Venison pounces.
Ooh, look at the turn of that sumbitch.
I felt I got a pretty good burst on him. I see at this time he's smoking, so I figured it must have hit him.
Swede Venice has gotten in a lethal counterpunch, but there's still 2 zeros in the air. One screams in for another vertical pass. As the enemy pilot pulls up out of his dive, Swede sees an opening and goes for it. He pitches up, bringing his guns to bear.
I was able to pull up into almost a vertical, and he was close at hand. He's at an angle, and he's making a turn up there, and I came up practically on his beam, and I got in a good burst on him, and then I stalled and dropped away.
Venison recovers from the stall. The burning zero falls from the sky, barely missing the SVD as it plunges towards the sea. After evading repeated Japanese attacks with 2 bold maneuvers, Venison has almost evened the odds. Only 1 zero remains.
This was a fight to the death. If he's out to kill me, and I'm going to get him.
Venison in his slow dive bomber is here. The Agile Zero is here, wheeling around on Venison for a final decisive head-on pass.
He turned around, and he came back at me. And I thought that this time he'd been firing so many times, that guy must be out of ammunition.
But Vedesa is wrong. The Zero is still lobbing cannon shells at the SVD. He skids left, dodging the Zero's lethal fire.
But he kept coming. I knew at that time he was intended to crash.
The suicidal Japanese pilot barrels in, bent on ramming Swede's SVD.
At the last moment, I jerked the airplane, went into a vertical, and then rolled back. And as I rolled back, there was this tremendous clap as we passed. I knew I saw something fly off, and I thought, my God, I lost an aileron.
Miraculously, Vedesa has survived a mid-air collision with the Zero.
You would think that two aircraft closing at those speeds probably combined closure rate of almost 500 miles an hour, and then any parts of the aircraft touching, you think it would be catastrophic for both aircraft. As it turns out, the ruggedness of the SVD ripped apart the Japanese Zero.
I turned back on his tail, right, and he's smoking. He dove into the cloud about 1,000 feet below, and he disappeared. That was the end of the dogfight.
After knocking out 3 Zeros with a lone dive bomb, Swede Vedesa lands back on the Yorktown a hero. He is awarded the Navy Cross for his actions.
Well, we often say in this business that we stand on the backs of giants. And no kidding, Lieutenant Vedesa is one of those giants to be able to execute the
That's
feat that
cool.
he executed that day.